In this video, we will get into details of one of the prerequisite tool that you need to understand and master to prepare and clear AZ-104. In the previous video, I talked about various tools that are available in Azure to create, manage, and monitor Azure resources. And today, we're going to focus on Azure CLI and its command structure that you need to be aware to create resources. The Azure CLI command is based on the bash command structure and bash commands and having a and with a predefined format for the command that you need to understand to get hands on as well to be aware of various commands that you can create. It's a vast set of commands that you will not be able to uh, remember all of them. So understanding the structure, how it would work, and how it is structured would really help you to uh, uh, apply the same in your work project or even for the certification. You can expect various questions around CLI commands and completing the commands in your AZ-104 exams. So Azure CLI has a predefined structure starting with the keyword AZ. So AZ stands for Azure CLI. If you have installed the CLI command tool in your laptop, you can just go and search for AZ and type in AZ and enter. If it is installed successfully, you will see the syntax error, or you will say the command not found. Look into one of my video with the steps of how to install Azure CLI, and you'll be able to follow that. So coming to the structure, as I said, AZ is the keyword which will indicate to the command line that we're trying to create or manage infrastructure in Azure. Followed by the first command or first parameter is the group parameter. Now, a group typically indicates the service or the Azure service or resource that trying to create. It could be a virtual machine, a resource group, a storage, and an app service. These are the services that Azure provides, and the first parameter you're going to indicate the CLI that you're trying to do some operations on this particular service. If you say AZ space group, the command line understands you're trying to do something with a resource group. And if you say AZ space sub, it understands you're trying to do something on the subscriptions. Followed by you have something called a subgroup. The subgroup indicates if the service that you have defined in your group has sub components, right? So example, if you're trying to create a storage account, and if you already have a storage account and you're trying to create a container on it, or you're trying to create a table, then you need the subgroup would indicate the service the sub service you're trying to create in the storage. So if you're trying to create a container, you would say AZ space storage space container. So that the container is the subgroup name because of the service the storage provides. Now, in some cases, the subgroup may not be available. In case of a resource group or in case of an app service, you may directly say AZ space app service and then the command, followed by the specific command that you are trying to do. It could be about listing the command, listing the services, create a new service, get the details around the existing service. So you could any command that trying to do with the specific group and the subgroup, you need to specify the same. Next, once you specify the command, you'll have to specify the mandatory parameters based on the group, subgroup, and the command that you have chosen. So if you're trying to create a VM, you may not have a subgroup, but it will have you, and you're trying to create a VM command is the create, and then you need to specify the resource group as a mandatory. You need to specify the virtual machine name as a mandatory. right? So some of the, depending on the command, the mandatory parameters would vary, and you would be able to anytime use and understand the command by using the help statement. But uh, once you give the group, subgroup, and the command, it follows by the mandatory parameters of that command. Finally, you may have some optional commands. Again, depending on the command and the group and the service you're trying, the optional parameters will vary, and you will have to understand those optional parameters and accordingly specify. For example, for any when you're creating a storage or a VM, the SKU might be there might be default SKU select chosen. So the SKU is a optional uh, parameter. Tags will be an optional parameter. So you will have to specify the same depending on your command, both the mandatory parameters as well as the optional parameters. Now let's look at a couple of examples of how we can relate these group, subgroup, command, parameter, and options in a real example. So let's say you're trying to create a VM. So looking at this command, we are going to start with AZ to indicate that you're trying to work on Azure CLI. Then you're going to, in this case, your group is a VM. Now VM is a keyword or a short code for virtual machine, which Azure CLI understands that you're trying to do some operation on a VM service. Next, you're going to specify the action. Now, in case of a VM, there is no subgroup. So we're directly going to say give the command, which is your create command, followed by the mandatory parameters, right? In this case, the resource group and the name of the virtual machine is mandatory. So you're going to specify this along with other mandatory or optional parameters. So by running this command, it would create a new VM with the name VM name and my resource group inside the my resource group that we have created. And this command would not create a new resource group if it doesn't exist, but it would go ahead and create the VM inside the virtual machine. Similarly, let's try to look at one command to create a storage. So the first is the group. Here in this case, storage is group is the storage. Subgroup is the container, followed by the create statement that you're going to create. That you're asking it to create a new uh, container inside the storage that you provided. And resource group is the optional, is the mandatory parameter, followed by the name of the command or name of the uh, uh, container that you're trying to create. So this is one way of once you have the basic understanding of the format and the structure of the command, you will be able to get details around what could be the command depending on the service, depending on the parameters. At any given point of time, you can always type -h uh, uh, to get help for that command. Example, I could type AZ storage space -h and it will tell you what are the subgroups you can use, what are the commands you can use for the command AZ storage. So uh, look into one of my other video where I have provided details around how to install and manage Azure CLI. In that where I've given the example of how to write the command to get the help for a particular command. So look into that, and having a good understanding of this command structure really helps you to one prepare for the AZ-104 exam and clear and prepare for some of the questions you would get with respect to fill in the blanks or fill in the command gaps. It could be those kind of questions.